As you've been watching these lectures and working your way through the exercises, hopefully you've started to have a little bit of a think about what sort of habits you'd like to develop, and maybe what sort of ones you'd like to get rid of. And if you're goal driven, then maybe what sort of goals you'd like to work towards. So in this lecture, we're going to start to prioritize and pick one to move forwards with. So you might be thinking, why just one? Often when we get that initial urge to start changing our habits, we have all that pent-up energy and all this excitement to try and make a load of changes at once. And surely we should use that energy in a productive way. Inevitably, though, what happens is we overload ourselves. We try and make a load of changes at once, and we're really expecting too much of ourselves. We want to run marathons and eat healthily and meditate daily right off the bat. And I've tried doing this a few times, and it's never really worked out. As opposed to multitasking, which humans are notoriously not very good at, it's better to focus all your energy on one thing and try and do it to the best of your ability. Sometimes I feel like this urge to make a load of changes is partly due to the media. So we see stories about people who have seemingly made massive changes overnight, changing their diet and running marathons and losing hundreds of pounds in weight. And if they can do it, then why can't you? It's important to remember that the media likes to sensationalize. Behind every overnight success story, there's usually years and years of hard work and small incremental changes. It's not really an overnight thing, and we just see that end result. We don't see the process that the person has gone through to get there, which may have been many, many years. As tempting as it is, if you try and make a load of changes at once, you're significantly decreasing your chance of success. And I mentioned this earlier, but it's worth bringing up again. Willpower is not an infinite resource. If you play video games, then your willpower is kind of like that magic bar or your health bar in the corner of the screen. Every time you exert yourself, that bar is going to shorten a little bit. So if you try and make too many changes at once, pretty soon that willpower bar is going to be empty. You're going to cave in and revert back to your old behavior patterns. And there may be a few exceptions to the rule. Some people are wired a little differently and can handle more changes. But as a general rule, it's probably best if you just pick one habit or one goal to work on to start with. And that goes for whatever method that you're going to choose, whether you're going all in or using the small steps approach, the hybrid, or the substitution method. One question I get quite a lot is, which habit or goal should you start with when you've got a load that you want to work on? It can sometimes be hard to decide, and there's no one true answer really. But there is some research to suggest that it doesn't matter all that much. A 2006 study looked at the role of willpower in habit forming. So they wanted to see if willpower was something that could be trained over time. So they measured the performance of subjects in two different groups. One that was attempting to save money, and one that was trying to form the habit of studying harder or studying more. Not only did they find that in both groups that their ability to handle changes over time increased, they also found that making those changes had a knock-on effect to other areas of their life. So they saw improvements in things like cigarette smoking and alcohol consumption and healthy eating, and I think even household chores. So whatever habit they worked on, it had a knock-on effect to the rest of their life. And you might remember from one of the earlier lectures where I talked about health is this really complex picture, and all these components are interacting and influenced by each other in some way. So it doesn't matter too much which habit you start with, because it's going to influence your other behaviors at some point. What I usually advise though is, if there's something that's really exciting to you right now and something that you feel really inspired to do, then go with that. If you're inspired about something, you've got a big reason why, and it's going to require a lot less motivation and willpower to get it done. Other than that, you could maybe start with the habit that you think is maybe going to be the easiest to change or is going to give you the best results. So if you can get success early on, then your confidence and your self-esteem is going to improve. And as that study suggests, your ability to handle changes in the future is going to improve too. So all the way back in exercise 1, hopefully you wrote down a few ideas with regards to some habits you'd like to work on, or maybe some goals that you'd like to work towards at some point. So now we're getting a little bit closer to taking action. You're going to prioritize these changes and pick one to work on as we move forwards. So as I said earlier, it's one that's going to excite you the most, or one that you think is going to have the biggest impact moving forwards. So that might be swapping an unhealthy habit for a healthy one. It might be committing to a challenge like running every day for 30 days. Or it might just be a small habit such as meditating a little bit every morning before work. So I just want you to write down the goal that you're going to be working on and link it back to your reason why. So for me, it might be I want to start meditating every day for 30 days before work so I can be less stressed and more mindful throughout the day. And this is going to improve my relationships, and it's going to mean I'm going to be able to train harder and enjoy myself while I'm training. So I'm linking it back to my reason why. And by following this process and writing it down on paper, you're really solidifying your intention to really make changes. You're showing that you're serious about it, and you're adopting a method and following a process that's gonna facilitate changes. So good luck with that. In the next lecture, we're going to look at how we can refine that goal or habit change a little bit further to increase your chances of success even more. I'll see you there.